Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I am your host, Frankie Corcoran. Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope everyone's having a good week so far. Lots of stuff always going on. Lots of stuff going on here. First of all, thank you guys for listening to the show, as always. If you like it, give us a nice review, rating. Follow us on Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening to this podcast from. Always means the world. We're going to put the link in our episode description to the Ladies Foursome tickets, our next Corcoran Entertainment production, which we're very, very excited for. So be sure to go get that. And tickets will also be available later on at Miramichi Golf and Country Club. Text or call 1-506-624-3315 or get them at the door. There's lots of ways to get them, but June 12th and 13th, click the link in the episode description, and that will give you all the information. So just a quick little plug for that. Very excited about our guest today. We have a very special episode today. This guy, we go way back. This gentleman, our guest, was my art teacher back in grade 9. Terry Whalen, multi-talented musician, singer-songwriter, also a theater actor. He just did his first production last year. He played Bill Austin in RiverMade's production of Mamma Mia, and it was fantastic. And now he is running for city council here in Miramichi. The election is this coming Monday, next week, May 11th. So everybody who is able to vote, please go on out and vote, and let's make a difference together. So I'm here today to proudly endorse Terry Whalen, who, as I mentioned, is our guest today. Talk about a lot of different things. He has, the arts here in Miramichi. It's hard to imagine the arts around here without Terry Whalen. He's done so much for the arts community, and I'm very, very excited to see what he's going to do coming up. And so I'm here today to proudly endorse him for this upcoming election. So I encourage you all to go on out and vote Monday if you are eligible to vote. And so if you like the episode, as always, as I mentioned, be sure to give us a nice review, rating. So there's not really much to talk about. Just hope you guys enjoyed the interview. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. And as I said, anybody who's in the Miramichi area and is eligible to vote, please go out and do so. So without further ado, guys, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast today. All right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I am your host, Frankie Corcoran, and today I'm joined by a multi-talented, he's a teacher, he's a singer-songwriter, musician, actor, stand-up comedian, you name it, he's done it. And now he is going for city council here in Miramichi. Be sure, May 11th, this coming Monday, we are here to proudly endorse Terry Whalen, who is our guest today. Terry, how are you?
Good, Frank. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. We go way back, Terry. We go way back to when, grade 9. Terry was my art teacher. So that's how far back we go. And you are going to be retiring next year. Is that correct?
I am. This year is 29 years. I've been a teacher at Miramichi Valley High School, and I think I'll do one more and ride off into the sunset, so they say, or so to speak. But yeah, you say we go back a long way, and it's true, I guess, that we do. But I go back further than that. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago that you were in my classroom, but for you, obviously, it was.
Yeah, no, exactly. That was 12 years ago, something like that. But, it is what it is. Years from now, I'll be looking back on this. But and so as I mentioned, you've done so much. One of the things that I always mention on the show is that, politics is not normally something we always talk about. You're running for council now, which is a big thing, and we're here today to proudly endorse you. But one of the things is that you are such a great, advocate for the arts in this city, which is it's something that's truly, we're blessed to have so many amazingly talented people, not just amazingly talented people, but people who are continuing to make opportunities for aspiring artists in the city. How long have you been a singer, songwriter, musician, all that stuff?
Well, it came to me a little bit later. I've always loved music. I mean, my first memory of music was probably when I was 5 or 6 years old. I used to watch shows on TV. Back then, we had one channel. You know, you watched Tommy Hunter show or you watched Hee Haw, and but I just always was enamored with performers, and it started with music. Music. I think everyone has a connection to music. I mean, sometimes you don't realize it, but we've all listened to music. It's either in movies that we've watched or productions. It's on the radio. It's the soundtrack of our lives. A lot of times we can highlight things that happened to us based on the music from that time. I mean, I can tell you the songs that I listened to in high school and the first dance I had with my wife. You know, I mean, I can tell you what songs they were. So music plays a big part. But I don't know, it's an interesting conversation because I guess I always wanted to act. You know, I became a musician, and in my earlier life before that, I was an athlete and pretty heavily involved in that. But I think if I go back far enough, my dream was always to be an actor. And I didn't get involved in drama when I was in high school because I was too busy playing sports, you know, and not that I regret any of that, but there was always a part of me that wanted to be an actor, even more than a musician. But I never had an opportunity. And then when you get into university and there's drama productions, well, you say, well, I don't have any experience. I can't do that, you know, and so you don't. And my first foray was buying a guitar in grade 10 and then slowly learning to play it and going through university. And it took me to my fourth year of university before I would even play in a variety show or a coffee house. That's how insecure, I guess I was with it. But that passion was there, even more than the sports. I mean, like I say, I played university hockey and coached them at a fairly high level and things like that. But that passion for entertainment, and whether it goes from singing and playing guitar and being, you know, in a play, which Frank, you know, I mean, the first time I was ever in a kind of a major production was last summer. I was in
Yeah.
Mamma Mia, a RiverMade production, and I can honestly say, as much as I've been on stage and playing music in front of big crowds, that was the most fun I ever had in my life. Honestly, was doing that production because you're involved with such a great cast and a great team of people, and you put something together where you're such a small part, and you're just happy to be part of something that I guess is a great experience for everyone involved. But then you have an audience that kind of buys into it as well. So I can't say enough about entertainment and how important it is for all of us to find a way to be part of it. And now sometimes it's not on the stage or in front of behind a microphone. Sometimes it's just listening. But I think entertainment, and whether it's any form, music, production, you know, singing, dancing, I think it's a great way for us to express who we are and find out who we are. So I see great value in the arts.
No, absolutely. And it's one of those things, if you try to imagine a world without music, it'd be like having a world without like Coca-Cola. You're like, okay, yeah, we're still here, but there's something missing. You know what I mean? It's weird when you go to a store or you go to a restaurant and you want to drink and there's no Coca-Cola. Like, it'd be weird
Yeah.
turning on the radio and not hear music. So it's just something. And same with TV, same with theater, plays, all that type of stuff. And so it's something that not doesn't get overlooked, but it's one of those things that we just kind of take for granted sometimes. And one of the things you mentioned, you going for the RiverMade Productions in Mamma Mia, you played the character of Bill, which I got to be honest here, when hearing that was your first role ever, like in a theater show or anything, I was like, there's no way. I actually said that. I said, "There's no way this is his first time doing something like that." Uh, how would you describe? Were you kind of doubting yourself as you kind of went into that, thinking like, "Okay, I always wanted to be an actor, but do I have it in me to play not just a small part? I'm playing, one of the three potential dads in Mamma Mia." Like, how did you kind of go about that?
Well, no, I knew I was ready. I don't think I would have done it had I not thought I could do it. But I have also been on stage for 20 years in front of a microphone, so it's not like I haven't performed. In fact, I've been on stage for 30 years. As a teacher, you're really in front of an audience. So you have maybe the toughest audience on planet Earth, students, high school students in particular, that are judging you every single moment that you're up there speaking and have their attention. So I just saw it as an extension of that in a way. I've done some music videos for some of my music in the past, so I've done a little bit of that. Terry Gaston, who's been a great mentor to me through the years, uh, he had said we were doing a music video one time. He said, "You get a great response in front of the camera, kind of thing," and he just thought it was very good. So things like that kind of give you the confidence, say, "Hey, I can do this." And I did a couple of small little things with the Heritage Players, Bernie,
Yep.
Colpop, and Renew. So I didn't have a lot of lines. I think I had one line in a production and maybe a couple lines in another one. So that kind of planted the seeds of me thinking that I could do something like this. But you know, uh, it was, and I'm so glad I took had the courage to do it. I mean, you get to a certain age like where I am now. I'm in my early 60s, and you start realizing these types of new, fresh opportunities aren't going to be around forever. So I'm not getting any younger. I want to try some new things. That's why 2 years ago I started doing stand up. I mean, something I had thought about when I was younger. I just didn't have the confidence. And sometimes life, as you go, you realize I don't know if you get more confident, just get to the point where say, hey, life's too short. I want to try this. And maybe it's not going to go great, but I want to live. I want to do things. And I'm not going to do that if I'm lucky enough to live to 80. I'm not going to get to do things like that when I'm 80. I mean, I'm going to do it now. So time is a little bit running out, and you got to get to the point where you don't really care what other people think. Do it for you and do it. And that's who you do it for first. And I've been very lucky that these things, I've always been a passionate person in anything that I do. And I think if you're passionate, you're going to give it your all. And if you're sincere and honest, I think you probably be successful in whatever you do.
Oh, 100%. And I always kind of, I mean, I still go through with this a lot, only being 26 of just thinking like, oh, yeah, no, I don't think I'm going to try that. I don't think I have it in me. And I even hear people all the time talking about different things. Oh, I think I'll try that. But no, no, actually, no, I'm not going to. I don't think I have it in me. Now that you've gone for these opportunities that you're like, okay, life's short. I'm just going to go for it. I don't, we don't have a lot of time to do this now. If you ever hear people who are saying that I don't think I should do this or anything like that, based on your experiences, are you now the type of person to say like, no, go for it? Like you're encouraging people to
Well,
go out and try it.
there's one of the things I think as a teacher that I've done through my career is encouraging students to do things. So I think, I've been that type of I wouldn't say a mentor, but a cheerleader for people to do things. And sometimes you're in a classroom, you hear students talking about, oh, I'm gonna look, do it. Like, it's almost like I want them to not wait till they're older. And one of the examples I've been using for years is I didn't start singing till I was 43 years old. That's pretty old to start singing. I mean, I played guitar for years all the way back to high school, but I didn't start singing until I'm 43, and I kind of kicked my butt for waiting so long because I told myself I didn't think I knew how to sing. So I think that's a great life experience that I can give to young people as a teacher and say, listen, don't do what I did and wait till you're 43 to start singing. And it doesn't have to be singing. It could be anything in life. And, maybe you want to start driving stock cars. It doesn't matter what it is. Go do it. Try it. Don't wait, because I'm lucky to have had the opportunity at 43 to do what I've done with music. No, but I kind of kicked my butt and say, man, I could have been doing this from the time I was 20. Maybe I could have started singing over 20 years before that. But kind of me, I'm the type of person, things happen when they're supposed to happen. And I'm fine that I waited until I was 43 to do this. I'm fine with the fact that it was only 2 years ago that I started doing stand-up. I'm fine that it was only a year ago that I did a music production for the first time. Things happen when they're supposed to. When I was 20, I wasn't even ready to be a teacher at 20. I mean, that's why I didn't even start teaching until I was 33. I'm kind of a late bloomer, and maybe it took me a little longer to realize, go for it. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I can be a bit of a cautionary tale in a way for young people to not wait because, you know, who knows how much time we're given, right? I mean, just live and do what makes you happy. And I think that's the key. And I can say that, frankly, I'm so impressed with what you've done. You started your production company, and I think it's so amazing that you're doing that. And like say, you're in your 20s. I mean, if all goes well, you can do this for 40 years. And who knows where that's going to take you in 40 years. So I won't be around to watch it, unfortunately, unless marvels like technology give me a longer lifespan. But I look forward to seeing everything that you do in the coming years.
Oh, well, thank you, Terry. I appreciate that very much. And it's always good to have looking back and having good mentors growing up is a big, it really kind of shapes who you are. Like, you see people who have such great work ethic. They have such great, they're always encouraging people to do their own thing and to, really go for it, similar to what you're doing. And you've always done that for people. And and you're right. Life's short. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like one of those things that we just try to live in the moment, but it's always in the back of your mind. Like, yeah, you never know how this whole thing is going to pan out. Especially, well, I always say entertainment's always so, um, it's tricky in the sense of it's not like you're going into healthcare where you're like, okay, I'm guaranteed a job in this field. I know exactly where I'm going after I'm done, nursing school or whatever the case may be. Entertainment, you don't really know where it's going to go. You know what I mean? So, like, if you have people who come to you and say that I want to be a professional singer, like, how do you kind of persuade them to do it while also kind of trying to temper their expectations and like, okay, also, it's great that you want to do this, but this is reality. This happens, and you kind of had to prepare. How do you kind of advise people in that regard?
Well, that's a very good question, Frank, because it's a tough business, any of it. Being an actor, being a singer, being a stand-up, and people that do all those things. But to be able to say you're going to jump in with both feet and no safety lines or no backup plan, that's a tough thing to do. If you have that kind of passion and you're young, I'd say go for it. But I always encourage you, look, if you can get an education, like I look at me, I've been effectively a full-time musician, but also while I was a teacher. I mean, because there was years in there that I was probably doing 100 shows a year, which is pretty full-time, doing 100 shows a year while still doing and carrying on as a teacher. So I've always had teaching that as my career that pays the bills, and that's my backup. I've never had the courage, I would say, to walk away from that and put all my eggs in the music basket, so to speak. I don't think I have that kind of courage to do that. And maybe some people do, but I don't. I think you could take my model and make it work. I think if you go to school and get educated in whatever the profession you might want to do it, and you have that, and then you have extra hours in the evenings, weekends. Now, teaching is a great gig because I have 2 months off in the summer where I can do music full time, and but I've had so many professional musicians say how much they envy me doing the music that I've done, but also having a career, and where I have guaranteed income. You know what I mean? And there's so many musicians that I know that are struggling after many years, still sleeping on couches and struggling. And look, if you want to do that and that's your passion, I'd say go for it. But I would encourage people to get an education, have a kind of do both. And then if something happens, an opportunity comes up, and you have a chance to be in a big television or movie production or open for somebody on a tour, then you can take the opportunity and do that. But it's such a, it is a risk. I like to find a better word, but it's such a difficult thing because we look at young kids that when they're 10 want to play in the NHL or want to play Major League Baseball. It's like winning the lottery. Not many people get to do that. So I mean, go for it. I mean, when I was a young guy, I wanted to play in the NHL. Not right up until I was in university, the goal was still there to be an NHL hockey player. But I realized, and I was doing it while I was in university. And so I mean, I was getting a degree. And when I realized partway through university that wasn't going to happen, then I could refocus on other things. And it ended up being music. It ended up being learning to play guitar, and then eventually songwriting and learning to sing. And you just live your life. But I have a lot of respect for people that jump in with both feet and say, "Hey, look, I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to have a backup plan because it's going to force me to be successful." I hope it works out. I really do. But that's a tough thing to do. It really, really is. So that's the best advice I try to, as a teacher and any students that talk to me about, dreams and passions. Yeah, go for it. But do it with some safety precautions, like a safety net, so to speak, where you have a backup plan. And I have no regrets. I mean, I've done more things in music. If I never played a guitar again or sang another note, I have no regrets. I've done some amazing things, met some amazing people, and I've been very fortunate. Maybe luckier than some, but um, I'll help anyone. I'll mentor anyone in any way, but follow your dreams. Absolutely. But my initial dream was always to be married and have family. And that was nothing was going to get in the way of that. So that was my first dream. As much as I love playing music and doing all these other things, the first goal I ever had as a young guy really was being married and having a family. So that's the first thing that always comes first, and all the other things, teaching and music or stand up or acting, or it's all stuff it's icing on the cake.
Yes, that's the best way to put it. Because yeah, with no family or nothing like that, you're like it's oh okay, in the off season, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? Like I don't
Right.
have anybody, so that's all always and you got a great wife, great kids. Shout out if they're listening right now. They're amazing. One of the things about the entertainment industry too is that people money becomes a big thing in terms of people thinking that, oh, if I can do this, I can make this amount of money, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, are you doing it for the money? Are you doing it because you're passionate about it? How would you kind of describe that? Doing it like, I always say, like, if you want to do it because you love it. But if the money comes, take it for sure. But there's some people that are in it strictly for the money. Like, how important is it to not just be in it for the money?
Frank, that's another great question and something that I think I probably figured out along this journey. But like I know for me, like I'm getting ready to record my eighth album, and my goal is not to have a lot of people buy it or listen to it. Honestly, I do it for myself first. Like I create the music for me. And if you do it for yourself, whether it's music or whether it's entertainment, whether it's theater production, do it for you because of the joy that it brings you. And anything else is just bonus. That's what I would say. So, um, yeah, I expectations of money. I've never been driven by money ever in my life. In all honesty, when I was young, I always wanted a nice sports car. But once you get a little older, you realize, okay, do I want the sports car instead of all these other things? And a lot of these things don't have monetary value, but they're worth far more than a sports car. You know what I mean? And so I would say do it for the right reason. And if it's money, you're never going to be happy anyway, because I've had money in my pocket, not millions of dollars, obviously, but I've had money in my pocket, and that doesn't bring you much happiness, in all honesty. It's the things, it's the people, the experience, the life experiences that we have. Like, I mean, right now I could sit and just think about some of the little stand-up gigs I've done, and that production I did with Mamma Mia last year. brims me with pride. And I still get people come up to me and mention it. You know, like even yesterday, I was at the farmers market, and someone had mentioned how much they enjoyed my performance. And what's that worth? What's that worth in monetary value? I mean, it's $1 million is what it is. So I think a lot of people get too mixed up in money, and there's too much of this corporate greed and desire for money that I don't think brings happiness at all. You know, I really don't.
Yeah, money or just ego is a big thing too. You know, like you
Ooh.
don't want the people to you don't want people to go in just saying I just want to be famous. But it's like okay, if that's your goal, go ahead, but yeah, are you really liking what you're doing? Are you like what good is that going to do you? Have you encountered many people who are like if you had to say like ego or money, have you ever heard people say one or the other? Have you heard people say both, and how do you kind of react to that?
Frank, you bring up so many great questions, and the whole ego thing, like you're wise beyond your years, in all honesty, because just to even think of things in that context, ego and money are kind of the same thing, you know, and neither one of them are any good. I can honestly say, having had the opportunity to be at some big music festivals and getting to meet some pretty famous people. I mean, we didn't become lifelong friends or anything, but you're backstage and they sit around and talk to you for an hour or two. You get to see who they are. Most of them are just plain good people. They just happen to be famous. And I don't see ego or anything like that, or they don't flaunt. Now, I can't say that's 100% of the time, but here's the thing. If you're successful, most times you've had to come up through the ranks and climb the ladder, and you've had a hard struggle doing it, so you get it. And a lot of those people they get it. So if you were born with ego and that kind of thing, and you happen to be successful, that's probably still there, unfortunately. You know, unless it got beat out of you somewhere along the way. So you can't say there's some people that don't have the ego, but they would have had it even if they weren't successful and famous and rich. But so many, and I can just speak to the people that I've met, and mostly in the music industry because I've been in it for so long, most of them are just regular people that are no different, that just happen to be successful and have eked out a nice career. And you've interviewed some people on your show that have had some pretty amazing success. And I'm assuming you could say from those conversations, you determine that it isn't about ego. You know what I mean? I just don't know if you can be successful long term and just riding the ego thing. You know what I mean? So I really think it's so important that there's the passion and you're a real person and it's not about money. I think those are the people that are successful more often than not, not the people that are riding on ego and doing it for the money. I think that happens, but I don't think you can sustain it that way. I mean, I think if you're in it for the money and the ego, then you're probably wasting that money because the ego is making you do that. And that's why I think you see a few stories of people that have lost everything or have wasted it or squandered it because, you know, their priorities probably are in the wrong spot.
Yep, their heart, mine's in the right or the wrong spot. Their heart's isn't in the right place.
Right.
Even from the moment I met you, I knew that this wasn't, you're doing it for the love of it. You're not doing it to go, do you know who I am? I played this. Blah, blah. You're never like that. You know what I mean? And that's what I've always admired about you and your work ethic and, all the success that you have. You've earned it through just doing what you love. And that's something you don't get too many people who get to say that. You're like, how many people can get to say that they've, done amazingly with their music career and a career they're really passionate about, and then also teaching and stuff like that. And you got a family, which is always number one on your checklist. You always kind of have to look at like there's people who are working to get this stuff and it's not going their way. Like in the way I see it, in some cases, you have to be kind of thankful for what you have. You know what I mean? Like, is that something that sometimes along the way that you kind of lose sight of or almost, but then you kind of have to pull yourself back to reality? Like, all right, hold on a
Well,
minute here, back up.
look, I can be guilty as anybody else of having blinders on. You know, you get tunnel vision, you you get into something. I mean, obviously, I have a great love of music and writing and playing, and you know what? Sometimes you get blinders on, and maybe you go into it too much, where you don't can't put it to the side to focus on family. Let's use that as an example. And maybe I've been guilty a little bit of, you'd have to ask my wife and kids that, that have I been too focused? But I mean, I put a lot of time. I figure I probably invested 40,000 hours into all of these different things, practicing and learning to sing and writing songs. 40,000 hours is a lot of time I could have been doing other things. But as I get older, I realize, okay, I need to know when to set it down and just be, with my family. And I'm hoping I've done a good job balancing that because you do. You see biographies of famous people that became too much of a focus and their family situation or other things suffered. And I certainly would never want that to happen. I hope, and my wife would be the first one to kick me in the butt and say, hey, snap out of it, kind of thing. But I can't, I'm as guilty as anybody else that kind of, because you get goal oriented, say, okay, I'm going to record a new album by the end of June, and if you stick to that, maybe some things suffer. And they say, look, I can't do it by the end of June. There's other things that are important, and there might be chores around the house or renovations or different things, that just should take priority. So I'm hoping I haven't been too focused on things. And as much as I love it, it's not the most important thing in the world. So I have to always remind myself of that. And I think I have pretty well. But look, I can be I can have tunnel vision like anybody else, and the only thing I can do is say apologize for anyone that is affected, and obviously that would be my family first more than anyone. But yeah, hopefully it hasn't been an issue. But I would see that as something that you have to take into consideration.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely. Because I mean, even seeing like I'll always see you at different events on the river. You know what I mean? Like I remember Rock and River Fest last year. You were there helping with setting up the stage and things like that. And then of course open mics and you're all over the place everywhere. And so it's one of those things that you know it's never about just wanting to be there and go, hey, look at me, I showed up here, I'm here, guys, look at me, I'm here. It's never about that. You're about wanting to help the community, better the community, but then also as you say, you always put your family first and things like that, and like something comes up, you have to be there. And that's always, work-life balance is always so important, especially doing all the stuff that you've done. Which now one of those, which of course is one of the reasons that I have you on here today. City council, you're going for city council. So the election, of course, May 11th. When did you decide that this was the time? This was the time to go for city council. Like what was the moment that you really decided? I think this is it here. This is my time to shine.
Well, I've been thinking about it for a while. I've always been civically minded. I care about the river. The Miramichi has been good to me, supported me when I was starting my music kind of career, and encouraged me to do what I've done. So I hate to say it like this, but I mean, I've felt like I've always wanted to give back, and I really do insist, and I'm sincere in saying that. And there was a bit of a by-election a year ago where a couple of councilors had stepped down. So there was an election where they had an opening for a couple spots on city council, and I thought about it then, and I was in this. I think we were in the middle of production for Mamma Mia or something at the time, so I was busy with something. I said, no, it's just not time. Now I'm getting ready. I'm going to retire after next year, so I'm going to have a lot more free time. And where can I put my time and efforts into? I do care about this river and the whole river. My wife's from Logieville. I graduated from Jameson Hill. I live in Nordine. I teach at Miramichi Valley High School. So I consider myself a true Miramichian in the truest sense. And I've been around a long time, taught a lot of students. I've been out in the community. I think I have my ear to the ground on what's important to people. If you're out doing a gig, if I'm doing a gig at O'Donoghue's or Riverside or Hennessy's Pub, you talk to people and they're always telling you what concerns they have, and a lot of times your conversations aren't necessarily political, but they're politically in nature. What are the concerns that people have? So I have a pretty good idea of what people care about, and what better way to help them address those concerns than be on city council. So I thought, yeah, now's the time. And here I am again. If I don't do it now, maybe it's going to be too late if I wait much longer. So here I am. In another year, I'm going to have a lot more free time to be able to dedicate myself and my time to something of that nature. So I thought it was time to put my hat in, the name in the hat. So yeah.
This episode of the Corcoran Entertainment Show is brought to you by Holy Hydrogen. Okay, guys, let's be real. We all try our best to stay hydrated, right? But not all water is created equal. That's where Holy Hydrogen comes in. They've got this awesome device called the Lourdes HydroFix Premium Edition, and it takes clean water to the next level by infusing it with molecular energy. That means you're not just drinking water. You're giving your body extra support with every sip. Better energy, less inflammation, and a real boost to your immune system. So try the Lourdes HydroFix Premium Edition today by going to shop.holyhydrogen.com/Corcoran and use the promo code Corcoran for $100 off your purchase. Again, that's shop.holyhydrogen.com/Corcoran and use the promo code Corcoran at checkout. Stay hydrated and stay healthy. The Corcoran Entertainment Show is brought to you by Podmatch, the ultimate platform designed to connect podcast hosts with prospective guests effortlessly. Are you a podcaster looking to elevate your show to new heights? Or perhaps you're a guest hoping to share your story with a broader audience. Whatever your podcasting goals are, we have the perfect solution for you. Podmatch simplifies the entire process of discovering guests for your show or finding podcasts to feature your expertise. Now imagine a platform where you can easily match with like-minded creators tailored specifically to your niche. With Podmatch, you can effortlessly network with influencers and thought leaders, all while staying true to your podcast vision. There are a multitude of ways that Podmatch can help you grow your brand. You can be part of a thriving community of podcasters and potential guests. Engage, collaborate, and grow together. If you're ready to experience these fantastic benefits for yourself, we invite you to join Podmatch today. Head over to www.joinpodmatch.com/Corcoran Entertainment and sign up right now for only $6 a month. That's right, you heard me right, $6 a month. Join the Podmatch family today and watch your podcast soar to new altitudes. Thank you for tuning into the Corcoran Entertainment Show, and happy podcasting. Going back a little bit, about being there for the community and helping out and all this stuff like that. That's what I love about people like you and everyone else who's going for council, is that they see what could be better and that you guys are gonna make that effort. You know what I mean? Like it's always one of those things that it's difficult to hear people say, well, why aren't they doing this, or why aren't they putting their focus on that and this and that, this and that? It's like, okay, do you want to go on council? You know what I mean? So that's what I always admire about people like you that are like, okay, I'm gonna, I have concerns. I hear people's concerns. Let's take it to the next level. You know what I mean? So that's something that, as soon as I heard that you were running, I was like, this is perfect. It really, really is. And how has the whole campaign process been so far? I mean, obviously we're pre-recording this, but at the time of this recording, how has the whole process been? Is it one of those things of like, wow, like this is real now? You know what I mean? Like now that you're approaching it quickly, is reality kind of setting in? Like, how do you kind of see things now?
No, I see it pretty much the same as I've been all along. I am a person that listens to what other people say. I'm a communicator, so I can easily communicate and talk to anyone. So that's all I've been doing, is people telling me what matters. And I'm not surprised by most of the things that people mention, but there's some things that, maybe that are maybe not at the top of the list, but are on the list that need to be considered. So there's a lot of interesting conversations. Uh, and look, I mean, having been involved with music and doing productions, and the arts is so important. It's one of the things that I want to support. We are basically a city of festivals, which is a great thing. And there's all kinds of music productions and theater productions. There's three different theater groups in the river that are right away. I mean, there may be a couple other ones through certain church groups,
Yep.
but the main ones and be yours and Chris that has one at the school, and then David with RiverMade Productions. Those are the three that come to mind for
Character
me.
Matters is one too. Yeah.
That's Character
Yep.
Matters, exactly. So, you want to support those, and how you support those is make sure people know that they're out there and you should go and see. It's no different than asking people to go see live music. I mean, I think it's a thing that I know in talking to young students, there's so many students have never seen a live band play, and I just and flabbergasted in all honesty because it's such a great experience. And same thing with musical theater. Seeing it live, it's so much different than watching it on YouTube or on TV. It's you have to be there. It's one of the things where now I think last night was the last night that the local movie theater was open and it's closed.
Yeah.
And that's a sad thing because I love going to the movies, big productions, Marvel and DC, and it's not going to be the same. Hopefully, there's some way we can find somebody else to keep that going. Because in talking to young students, they really want a movie theater. They didn't want to lose a movie theater. But there's a segment of your population that doesn't get hurt a whole lot. They're not the ones that you would hear on a campaign trail mostly. You're talking to working people and young people and older people, and maybe their priorities aren't necessarily the same as young people. So I think it's so important that we think of young people, but I also think it's so important that we think of our elderly. We got retired people that are on fixed incomes, and but the entertainment. I don't think I'd have to talk too much about how important I know it is. So it's certainly one of the things that I want to support all those organizations and make funding as available as possible because I don't want to lose any of them. And some of these things are hard and they're labors of love, and there's not a lot of money to be made, and sometimes and these productions cost a lot of money. You get the rights to scripts and music. People don't realize how expensive those things are. It's massively expensive. And it's about culture. And without music and productions and everything that happens, we're nothing without our culture, and I think it's so important that we support that in every way possible.
And to keep it alive and to
Yes.
keep it all going because we got lots of amazingly talented people here. And given the right opportunity, you know what I mean? Like, that's really what it's all about is making sure that they have places to let their express their creativity and things like that. And, I'm so grateful that we have someone like you, making the step to go for council and to, try to make a lot of these dreams come true and to keep the Miramichi River, alive, you know what I mean, in a way.
Yeah. Well,
If you were to kind of give like a sales pitch to people listening about why you would be a good fit for council, what would you say to them?
Well, I'd say, but all of those things are so important. But how do you go about doing it? Doing it. So, economic development is the number one way to do it. I mean, the more businesses you bring in, the more families that move here and build homes. So we need to grow, and the more people that you have, you build your tax base. So obviously, there's only so much money in a pot, and that has to be divvied up, and you have to decide what's most important and who should get the money. Well, if you put yourself in a position where you have a great vision for economic development, there's more money in the pot, and then you don't have to be making cuts to anything that's vital. It's all vital, I mean, we all want uh, facilities, we all want infrastructure, but we need to have money. So the more we go out and support local businesses, especially now with the bridge closure and some places like Douglastown are hard to get to. Well, we have to make an effort. And it's a little tougher sometimes, but the more we can support our own and buy local and go to local productions and go to see live music locally, those are all things that are going to enrich our community. So I think that's so important that we do that. And that's all economic development. That's all economic growth. So that is going to be a priority of mine. I mean, the I care about our roads. I care about buildings. I care about this river, and I care about every corner of it, from Logieville to Napan to Chatham Head and Nelson and Douglastown and Orlean and Lower Newcastle, all those locations that are so important in our city, Chatham and Newcastle, of course, it's those communities. So we're only successful, we're all successful. So it's so important for me that, so if I'm making a pitch, and I don't want to be a pitch maker, I don't want to sit here and make promises. The promise that I would make is that I will work tirelessly for the people, and and my ears and my door will always be open, and do my best to fight for your what you need and what you want and what makes this a vibrant city. That's basically what I can say.
That's you got me sold. Even before you were on here, you had me sold. I knew, like, just knowing you and being taught by you and working with you on many different occasions. I've seen your passion. I've seen your drive. I've seen how much you care, and so that's why we are here. Corcoran Entertainment proudly endorses Terry Whalen for City Council, May 11th. Everyone in Miramichi, be sure to go on out there, vote, make a difference, and let's keep the Miramichi River going and alive. So, Terry, this has been a blast. I mean, we could go on for hours about just all the amazing things that you're doing and that you're going to be doing. But is there any final words that you'd like to say to our listeners? Anybody out there who, whether they're an artist or they want to run for council someday, what would you kind of say to them?
No, look, I mean, it really is about what you're doing. You're young. It's it's people like you that have to pick up the pace. You guys, at some point, someone's going to have to take my place and other people's places. So it's great to see people with initiative like yourself. And I want to encourage and mentor anyone in all walks of our society to take a lead role and make and do things that are for the benefit of others. And that's what I will continue to do. I'm hoping that I am a stepping stone for people to want to do similar things. I mean, whether it's music or whether it's theater or whether it's getting into local politics, realize that you have something to give back, but it's I still see myself as a teacher, and helping others prepare for their next journey and being successful. So I guess that's where I'm at. I'm really encouraged by young people, and I have so many former students that are doing exciting things, and it just fills me with pride to see that the future is in good hands. That's the way I would see it.
That's a great way to look at it. It really, like, even seeing all the people who like I went to high school with, like, whether it was my grade or people who are in the years below me, it always makes me feel happy to see uh people are, in a way, carrying on our legacy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
my generation and then your generation, the generation before you, like, we're always, it's all a circle. That's kind of
yeah.
cheesy, but that's kind of the truth of it.
Well, it's a little scary and a little sad in some respects, because I see some of these people and they're grown adults and they're successful, and I go, how did they get so old? That means I'm really old, what I mean? So it puts things in perspective that, man, I am kind of getting up there, what I mean? But because there's some people that I've taught, and I remember when they were 14 and 15 years old. Now they're adults with kids and successful businesses and out there running festivals and organizations and music, theater productions, and it's so great to see. It really, really is. It just shows that you know our city is in good hands. I think it really is, and I just want to be around to still be part of it, I guess, a little bit. But I'm just happy to be around to see where we're going to go.
It's a mixture of pride and also I'm getting old.
Yeah, but I mean, look, I guess they say the 60 is the new 50 or something. I don't know what, I don't feel as old as I am when I look in the mirror. I still feel like I have a lot to offer, and or I wouldn't be putting my hat in the ring. So I definitely think my life experiences have put me in a spot. The empathy that I have for people, I think hopefully will set me up for success if I'm able to win a seat on May 11th. And hopefully I can prove that I was worthy of the confidence that people put in me.
100%, Terry. 100%. And as I said, you got me supporting you, and many others too. And so, best of luck next week, and just very much looking forward to see what you do next for the community. Because you're always up to something. Is what I always love, is that you're always up to something. You finish one album, all right, I'm gonna go do stand-up comedy. You know what I mean? Like, there's always something on the go. And then, okay, I'm not doing gigs, all right, now I'm going for counsel. So always makes me happy to see you making a difference. And best of luck, and very excited as always to see what comes next for you.
Frank, thanks so much for the opportunity to talk to you. I have so much respect for you and everything you're doing, and let's just keep doing it.
Keep doing it, and keep what's the saying here, keep on trucking, I guess you would say. uh Guys, thank you guys so much for listening to the Corporate Entertainment Show today. Anybody in Miramichi, Monday, May 11th, be sure to go on out and vote, if you're eligible, of course. People listening in a different province, sorry, but this this episode's not for you, maybe. But thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys in the next episode. But until then, this is Frankie and Terry signing off. Have a great one, Terry.
Thanks so much. Take care.